musicians vacate these chairs, thank you. I'm going to ask Hannah and Danny and Nina to come join me up here. And also Louis is going to stay here. And I promised I would tell you a little bit more about Louis. By now you've figured out he's an accomplished musician. One, two, all sit here.
Here, let me grab.
Okay, we'll get another chair. Good, that works. So Louis Dobin is the executive director of URJ Green Family Camp. Retired. Which he served for many years. And before that, he was involved in URJ camping in lots of different ways. URJ, Union for Reform Judaism, they're our sister progressive Jewish movement in North America. And they have an extensive camping network, amazing camps, of which Green is one. And so Louis, like so many of us, came through URJ camping and up to the top tier. During the COVID years, he helped all of the camps figure out how to be online. He is a pilot, a musician, a medic, many things. He's if you grew up in the URJ movement like I did, then you knew his name even if you didn't know him. So it's an honor for me to be singing and playing. He also was a founding member of Kol Beseder with Jeff Klepper and Danny Freelander, the cantor and rabbi, of whom some of their music we sang tonight. I wonder, like Louis, when you hear us singing these songs, when those songs were written, did you ever imagine you would be singing them at the bottom of Africa?
I've always been hoping.
It's pretty cool. So. And then we have Nina and Hannah and Danny, our own Netzer leaders and alum, and they have each also spent time in URJ camps. So what we thought would be kind of cool tonight is to have the opportunity to hear from Danny and Hannah and Nina a little bit about, first of all, their roles in Netzer today, what URJ camps they attended in what context, and what that was like a little bit, and then to have a little bit of a conversation between them and Louis about why Jewish camp matters. And that's what we're going to do. So we'll start with you. Who you are.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My name's Danny. I am currently on the Mazkirat of Netzer. I am Tochen Mazkira, so I'm the programming director at the moment. That's my role in Netzer. So about 5 years ago now, which feels insane to say, I went to URJ Kutz Camp, which unfortunately closed down 2 years after I was there. But that is truly an incredible experience. It's basically a leadership camp, so it specializes in leadership and different majors, I guess. So it has like its 5 different majors, and I did song leading. Incredible, meeting people from really all over the world, but especially like getting to learn from people like Dan Nichols was just incredible. And now I think Dan Nichols is, I don't know how to explain.
Another very well-known Jewish musician.
And song leader. So also you'll definitely know some of his tunes. And then last year that was as a camper. Last year I was a counselor at URJ 6 Point Sports Academy, which if you know me is quite funny. But that was also completely different from anything I'd ever experienced. We had 3 sessions with 300 kids per session. You're looking after about 30 kids. And basically there they have their sports elective, so their sport that they do throughout the summer, and they do it twice a day for 2.5 hours each slot. And then in the afternoons they choose an elective, so like a random kind of fun sport to play. And that's also really cool because I think having that Jewish experience while doing what you love, playing sport, can't relate, but they seem to love it. And I think that it was a really great experience to see them doing the things that they love and creating those Jewish relationships. which is pretty cool. And they had dance, which is what I do, what I did. And I think that that's, yeah, really cool. The other question?
We'll do a second round.
Yeah.
Hannah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Hannah. I just got back from Israel, and in June to August, I was at the American camps. So I went to Crane Lake Camp, and I was a cabin counselor. So I'm with like the kids 24/7. I'm like making sure that they're going to their pilot, like their sports. So our Camp Crane Lake, we had like lots of sports, like from early in the morning to late at night. And then, so I had the younger kids, so we would be like up till 9-ish, and then we would end our day at like 8. So we always with the kids. Yeah. And what was the other question?
We'll do another round.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Do they only do sports at Crane Lake, or did they do other stuff?
Well, for me, it felt like we did sports all the time. But we also had like Israeli dancing, which I really loved. I had the youngest kids, so like 8 years old, maybe 7. So the Israeli dancing, we like got all the energy out of the kids, which was really fun. So, yeah.
Hello, I'm Nina. I am no longer a part of Netzer, but I grew up throughout going to camp and then being a Māori, but now I'm kind of old, so I'm letting I'm alum. This year I went to a URJ camp called Osrui, which is in Wisconsin, so a lot of like the Midwestern kids go there. I was also a cabin counselor for, I think the age group was kind of like 12 to 15, but I was also what is called like an advocate or a one-on-one. So I had kind of kids who needed extra help. I was like their go-to person. This camp had a lot of different kinds of things. My specific shikva, I guess you could say, they had intensives, so they also kind of picked something to do every day that they had to do, but there was sports, but there was also science and musical and cooking.
So we heard about the not Jewish components of the camps that you were at. So I wonder if we could do a second go around, and if you can talk a little bit about how Judaism worked or felt at each of the camps you were at, and how that compares to your experience of our camp of Netzer Machaneh. Let's do that, and then we'll give Louis a chance to weigh in.
I think that Kut's camp was quite similar. It was very Jewish based. So when we were learning how to song lead, we were learning how to song lead, Jewish songs. But at 6 Points, Shabbat was very similar. They make a big deal of it. It's sitting round tables in white and, saying all the blessings together. And then, Shabbat Shacharit and all of that. And they also did Siyum Yom every night. So the whole camp gets together, so 300 kids in one hall, and sing Hashkivenu, the Shema, and then some of their favorite English songs that relate, but aren't in Hebrew. And I think that really, it's similar to us in terms of that Siyum vibe and the Shabbat and everything. I think that we do a little bit, our focus is generally Judaism and Jewish education. So it differs a little bit because obviously throughout the day they're playing their sport and they're not really thinking about the Jewish aspect, besides that all their friends there are Jewish. But I think that in saying that, having those Jewish friends brings out that Judaism. And it's a relatability, and you're talking about things in your own communities, in your own areas. And I mean, they come from all over the States, so everything's a little bit different, and those conversations are really important. But I think it just differs in that we are based on informal Jewish education.
Okay, so for my camp, we had tefillah every morning for 2 months. At first, it was not the best. I'm not a morning person, so I struggled to bring the energy and get my 8-year-olds to be excited about praying to God and thanking Him for the food and so forth. But after a while, it was such a nice, beginner start of the day to just sing and dance and just like be goofy and let off like the weird energy, wake up energy, and like wake up and start your day in like a very hopeful mood. Yeah, and like Danny, we also ended our day off with what was it called? Siyam. Yeah. So unlike Danny, we didn't do it with the entire campsite. So different shekhavot, different like age groups ended off at different times. So thankfully for me, I had the youngest kid, so that was like early bedtime. So we would do that like right after dinner and then get the kids to sleep and then do like little check-ins and then, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say our Shrew is very similar to Netzer. In terms of Judaism, we also did tefillah, I think, twice a day. The big difference, though, I've realized with Netzer is we call it ma'amad, and you sit in a circle, whereas there it's kind of like this, and then you have the song leaders who lead it, as opposed to kind of the Madis being a part of the circle. Yeah, we also did, prayers after meals. There were a few days where we did limud and learnt about Jewish things, but I think Netzer has more of a focus on Jewish education. And then also like Shabbat was very similar, the way in which it was done. But they do a lot of singing. Singing, I love their singing. A little bit more, I think, than Netzer does, which is also a lot of Netzer. But yeah, I'd say it was very interesting to meet people from America who, they use the same sudoras, and a lot of stuff was just, really relatable, and we could connect even though we are from different countries.
So we'll do a last one. The question is, why are Jewish camps important? Whether they're here or anywhere else. So we'll go across again, and then we'll come to Louis, and he can also answer that question from his perspective and respond to any of what he heard our young folks say. Yeah.
I think that I am one of the biggest advocates for Jewish camping. I think that it is a completely unique experience, being able to spend however long, I mean with us it's about 10 days, but with Jewish kids or teenagers or young adults who are your age, I think that is something that's so special. And if you don't go to a Jewish day school, then it's a very, very special experience, and you're not getting that kind of interaction with other Jewish people your age. I also think that in terms of informal education that we do, I think that all of them do, and the making the kids love Judaism is such a big thing. I think that to teach it in an informal way gives such a different perspective than if you were to go, obviously there are kids who go to both the Jewish day school and to camp, but it allows for opinions and an open space and learning from each other and your own opinions, sorry. And I think that that's something that's truly unique and so important about being in that Jewish youthful space. I have a lot more to say about it.
Okay, so I agree with Danny. I know both of us didn't grow up going to a Jewish day school. I began only in grade 8 and then finished school in grade 12. But for me, Netzer was the best place where I could learn more about my Judaism, which was the best thing ever, and still today. And where I met my closest friends to this day, and going to the school where I went, I felt like I didn't really have the best opportunity to learn about it, specifically because we focus more on Orthodox education, and I'm Reform, so I don't really agree with it a lot. So going to Netzer was a big thing, and I was always excited to learn more about Judaism.
Yeah, I think with what they said, especially in the Reform community, because mostly in your daily life you're kind of living amongst everyone else, and I think Jewish summer camp is such a good place to have Jewish experiences and learn so much more about Judaism and meet people who are in Jewish spaces. I feel like myself included, that's a lot of my Jewish memories and education comes from the summer camp aspect of it. And so, I think it's just a really important space for the youth for when they need a space to learn about Judaism that's also just really fun and memorable and impacts so much more of their life in later years. I think that's why, yeah, Jewish summer camp is really important.
Brilliant.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about Jewish camping, because obviously it's really important to me, having done it for most of my career. I grew up in the Jewish youth reform, progressive Jewish youth movement in America. I started when I was a little kid. I was in NIFTY, which is the American version of Netzer. And I became the president of my region, and then I became a camp staff member like these guys, and a song leader, and eventually I went off to college, started my own business, got rid of my own business, and got sucked back into camping, because it is really incredibly important. I'm just going to give you some of my observations and bullet points based on what I've heard. First of all, in Jewish camping, you need to know a little bit about the history of Jewish camping, and I'll give it to you real fast. Jewish camping started when immigrant Jewish children from the Lower East Side of Manhattan were taken out into the country and taught how to be Americans. That was the start of Jewish camping. Now, Jewish camping takes American kids to camp and teaches them how to be Jewish. So the whole thing is the obverse of where it began. And that movement has now kind of spread throughout the world. You guys have your own summer camps, but they have them in Ukraine also. They're Ukrainian Jewish summer camps run by the World Union for Progressive Judaism. My friend Danny Freelander, who was one of the other, Rabbi Danny Freelander, one of the other founders of this Jewish group called Beseder, he became the president, the worldwide president of the World Union for Progressive Judaism, so at some point he might have been down here. But he started, or actually strengthened, camps in Russia, in the Ukraine, throughout Great Britain, France, Western Europe, South America, Central America. There are Jewish camps in all of these places, basically teaching those kids how to be Jews again. Okay, because for a lot of them, when their parents came over, the first object was to shed their overt Judaism. So some of it didn't pass down through the generations, at least in America, but that movement towards Jewish identity spread throughout the world. Because in our summer camps, whether it's a Netzer camp or Crane Lake or 6 Point Sports, where kind of all you do is sports, also you're living on Jewish time. And it's the only place in the world where you can live on Jewish time, which the Sabbath is not on Sunday, but the Sabbath is Friday night through Saturday night. And you celebrate it then, you know, like you do in a synagogue. But the entire community of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people is all doing it together. So you get that kind of Israeli feeling of the very air you breathe being Jewish, you know, because everybody around you is Jewish. And that's one of the things these guys referred to. The community is a Jewish community with Jewish values, living on Jewish time. And we tell the kids that. It's overt. We don't just say you do nice things because it's nice to do nice things. We call them mitzvot, right? And we try and put the whole thing into context for them. And then we give them incredible Jewish role models. You're looking at 3 of them right here. And they look at these guys, and like in your case, y'all are exotic, but you're also Jewish and cool, right? So, you know, there's nothing cooler to an 8-year-old than an 18-year-old. And once you get above that, like, I'm old, you know, I can't relate to the kids the way these guys can relate to the kids. So they have great Jewish role models. They develop Jewish competency. I don't know if you noticed, but I know all the prayers, you know, the same ones that you know, the same ones that they know. And when kids come out of summer camp, they're much more capable of being B'nai Mitzvah, and they know what it means, and they can go to shul, and they can daven or pray or whatever you want to call it. They make friends for life, networking. The reason that I have wonderful tour guides in Ian and Deline is Jewish summer camp networking. Pure and simple. I called one of my friends in New York who happened to run all the camps. I said, we must know someone in South Africa, right? And they said, oh, yeah, the rabbi. Emma, yeah, you know her father. We grew up together. So, you know, Jewish networking, you have a network forever, which is great. You guys have friends that you communicate with, I hope, at the camps that you came from. We create a community. The biggest deal is the staff. You know, people, when Israelis come to camp, and at our camp, we have 45 shlichim every summer. Okay, that's out of a staff of 150. A third of them are Israelis. Okay, and the kids develop not only a love for Israel, but I tell the kids who come on shlichut from Israel that their main mission needs to be directed at the staff. Why does it need to be directed at the staff? Because of what's going on right now. You know, when shlichim, when Israelis come to American summer camps and talk to little kids, that's really nice. But when they talk to the staff that's going back to a campus where there is agitation against Jews, A, their Jewish summer camp experience strengthens them, and B, they have a whole summer of knowing Israelis and being able to say, I don't think Shlomo would do that, you know, and having a little bit of personal context for the news that they hear every day on the television. So I believe that Jewish summer camping has more value than I could even give you in the few minutes that I have. I think that these guys are a tribute to that. I think to a certain extent my wife and I are tributes to that. And I think that the survival of at least well, I'll say the diaspora Jewish community is going to depend on things like Jewish summer camp. Because as our societies get more and more secular, and as different sections of our society agitate more and more for different things, it becomes harder and harder to maintain our Jewish identity and to be Jewishly active. And what we do in summer camp is, I believe, one of the major ways we can do that. If you look at the rabbis in the world right now and ask them to raise their hands if they went to Jewish summer camp, I'm not sure anybody wouldn't raise their hand. That's the impact that we've had. Most of Hebrew Union College, the Reform Seminary, comes out of our camps. Dayenu. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks so much, Louis and Danny and Hannah and Nina. Most of you know this. 2 out of your 3 rabbis wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jewish camping. Your executive director and Rosh Cheder wouldn't be here, maybe wouldn't know each other. Danny wouldn't exist. We have guests who are here who have camping backgrounds and who know me through the camping network that we talked about. And some of our Netzer younger folks are here too. So there's lots of people that you can ask about this if you want to know more. And we're always looking for support to get our kids and keep our kids in camp and get them to Shnat. And into the URJ network also to learn and bring back and to take our wisdom from here to there. So